MusicalTalk, the UK independent musical theatre podcast.
Greetings, welcome to Musical Talk. My name is Nick Hudson. We have a very, very, very good episode. Well, all episodes are good, but this one is particularly good because it has some rather wonderful people in it that aren't me. We're going to be hearing from our good friend Andrew Abrams from many, many years ago, who was recently in London, showcasing his musical BUT I'M A CHEERLEADER at the Other Palace's Festival of New Musicals, with a very, very special West End star, Carrie Fletcher. You're going to hear that interview, and then we're going to hear an interview that our good friend, our other American friend, David Herzog, had with Demitri Lampra, who is currently touring the country in Kinky boots. So, you all want to hear less of me and more of people with talent, so I'm going to hand you over to the interview that I had with Andy Abrams and Carrie Fletcher.
Musical Talk.
I'm here in the green room of the Other Palace Theatre, and I'm sat across from my very good friend and past voice from the podcast, Andrew Abrams. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Why are we here? This is most bizarre.
Well, it is. We are here because our musical, BUT I'M A CHEERLEADER, for which I wrote the music and Bill Augustin wrote the lyrics, is being performed as part of the UK, was it? I'm going to say
MT
it wrong.
Fest.
MT Fest UK. I can never get it right. Which is an amazing thing that moves potential new works forward by showing a sampling. So you get 50 minutes of all of these different musicals, and hopefully people will see new works and say we need to produce these. And of course we are one of those new works which we hope to be produced.
And the one in New York is called Nymph or something, isn't it?
Yeah, Nymph. The Nymph, you do the whole show.
Yeah.
And you get almost about the same ridiculously short amount of time to put it together, but you get a 99-seat theater and you do the whole thing and you get lighting and everything, mics and everything.
But starring in a musical is a West End legend. I'm sat also here with
Not that old.
sat also here with Carrie Fletcher. Hello,
Hello,
Carrie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Tired?
A little bit, but loving it, having the best time.
How long do you have to be in to put this musical together?
We had 12 hours, but our production worked a little bit differently to the other ones because they were doing 4 days and 3 hours on each day, whereas we had 2 days to do 6 hours over one weekend.
Which I just have to add is much harder because when you have 3 hours a day, you go, okay, I don't know this bit. I'm going to go home and I'm going to work it.
Yeah.
When you have 2 days of 6, you basically have one night, maybe two.
Yeah.
It's like a full day of work, isn't it?
Yeah. And then you have to go home and have another evening of work, I imagine, right?
Yeah, because I sat up trying to learn my harmonies for the next day because I just couldn't get the harmonies for the ending right, and I was like, I cannot go in tomorrow and have to be like, hi, can you note bash that line for me? I didn't want to be that idiot at the back
because you are a professional.
The last thing I saw you in here, Carrie, was you were wielding croquet sticks.
I was, yes, in Heathers.
In Heathers, which I then saw again at the Haymarket. Congratulations on that show.
Thank you very
it was
much.
A wonderful show. Tell us how you found this festival and how you found this musical. Did you get to choose what you did, or
No. Paul Taylor Mills, who is the producer behind MT Fest, he produced Heathers, and he was, I think, was the artistic director here at the Other Palace. So he's the one behind MT Fest, and he called up my agent and said, "There's a role in BUT I'M A CHEERLEADER that might potentially be up Carrie Street. Would you be interested in it?"
And you said, "What's that?"
I did. I said,
were you familiar with it?
No, not at all. And so I've had this sort of whole world of BUT I'M A CHEERLEADER thrust upon me the last week.
The question is
I'm
then,
having a ball with it.
Do you avoid the film?
It's so difficult because you don't want to be swayed by other people's performances, but then is watching other people's performances actually, does that put you in an advantage to then know more about the whole world and what you're getting into? It's a difficult kind
tricky.
of...
So let me go to Andy. Did you grow up with the film, or did
No.
you just pitched it as an idea? Or?
I was grown up when the film came out. It's not that old of a film. I'm old, but the film isn't old. It's funny because Bill and I both saw it when it came out in 2000, and we just happened upon it, and we started in BMI, the musical theater writing workshop in New York, and he had written a song, just a random song for it, just for an assignment, and after the first year, he came to me and he said, I think I'm going to make this into a full musical. Would you write the music? And at first I said, I don't know. And he talked me into it, and boy, am I ever glad that he did.
So, is there a full musical?
There is a full musical.
So how do you then go from a full musical to cutting it down for this presentation
That's
here?
the thing, isn't it? We decided, a lot of people...
Tell what I do, Carrie, can't you?
Well, a lot of people just pick their songs and narrate them so that they get all the songs out there. We thought that we really wanted to tell the beginning of the story so that everybody went away, and it seems like they are like, I want to know what happens in Act 2. So we stayed with Act 1. We even cut Act 1 down significantly for 50 minutes and leave people on a total cliffhanger. You say cliff edge here?
Cliffhanger,
Sorry.
Whatever.
Cliffhanger. And they all say, we got to know what happens to Megan and Graham, and that's exactly what we want them to do.
And that is what they're doing.
And these two, I mean, Bronte Barbet and Carrie have been, I mean, I'll get emotional if I talk about it too much, but they've just been...
Arts Ed for the win,
Arts Ed for the win. Did you go to Arts Ed?
I didn't go anywhere.
That's right. I think
I'm the bus stop down the road that they plucked me from.
They've brought these parts to life in a way that neither of us have ever seen before. And
did you change anything for them?
No. They found their own voice in it, and it's been just thrilling to watch take stage. You guys have they have such a chemistry with each other too.
Well, this is the first time they've worked together, and I feel like that's kind of again been to our advantage, because much like Graham and Megan meet for the first time in this conversion camp, me and Bronte have kind of been thrust together over this weekend as well, and we've had so much fun. I absolutely adore her. I love her.
Tell us the nicest person.
Tell us what it's about.
Well, I feel like that's more of a question for you.
Oh, I thought I got out of that. Well, I mean, it's really just a traditional love story. However, it takes place in a gay conversion therapy camp. Megan gets sent away because she thinks her life is perfect, and her friends and family say, we think that you're a lesbian. So they send her to a straight conversion camp, which still exists today. It's still relevant today. And she discovers that perhaps she is a lesbian, and she meets Graham, who sort of is everything she at first thinks that she doesn't like. And then through their friendship, they start to become friends. And it's a shame that we had to cut it so much, because it has to happen so quickly here.
Yeah.
And it really does take much more time, and there's more dialogue, and there's more scenes where they start to come together. But it's really Megan's story and how she falls in love and realizes who her true self is.
There's so many lyrics in the show that I think are so important to, you watch it, and even just in in the Other Palace studio where you've got 110, 120 people in the audience, you can see how much some of these lyrics are really connecting with people. Like in the song that Megan sings at the end, where she's talking about how she's always been taught that there are just two colours in life, pink and blue, and that's it. And how she's now seeing all of these different colours in other people, and then in herself. And it's just, you're watching these kids in the audience who see their colours reflected on stage, and it's so wonderful, and they're all really connecting with it. And
in wrestling too, I mean, for anybody there's a song called Wrestling with a boy who's struggling with coming out, and of course he's in the camp and he gets kicked out, but it's sort of an anthem. And it's funny because every time we do this show, you don't know this probably, every time we do this show, one of the directors usually say, we need to cut wrestling. And Bill and I say, nope, that's the one thing we won't move on, because it's an anthem and there are no boy songs.
Why do you want to cut it?
Because it doesn't forward the plot in any way. It's a secondary character who gets a whole song to himself, and we don't really know who he is, but the song...
I get goosebumps thinking about it.
But surely the song has the theme of the piece within it.
It does.
So it has to move
very
the
much.
Yeah.
He's the first one to fall, quote unquote, to the quote unquote dark side, through a beautiful way.
And Connor, who plays the part, I honestly could listen to him sing forever. And I've got a line straight after his song, and I'm always like, back in the girls' dormitory. I'm like halfway through crying.
And he's an arts ed student. He's an arts ed student.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
They all are. They're all amazing. And we're so lucky to have them in our cast. Like, they're insane.
And so are you.
Oh, thank you. You're very sweet. Thanks.
Come on. I'm not just saying that because you're sitting here. It's the God's honest truth.
Sure.
No, I have to say, I was going to say this to you personally, but I'm going to say it on the
Oh,
air.
no.
I'm back home.
No.
Back home I teach. I teach acting through song. I teach all this stuff to mostly high school students and some college students. And what you do with Graham, you see your decisions, your discoveries in your eyes. And you take a lyric and you turn it, and all of a sudden we see a different color than either Bill or I had ever seen, and we go, oh my gosh, this is even more poignant than we thought. And that is the mark of somebody who is a true professional performer and reaches people in a way that is honest and sincere.
Oh, thank you so much. My God.
Really. I mean, as a teacher, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to blow smoke up people's bums. But
So British of you.
well, I felt like if people are listening here, they won't know what ass means. Are you allowed to swear on your podcast?
Yes.
Oh. Which is fucking great. No, really. I mean, we could not be more close.
How have you lived for this piece obviously for 18 years now?
We started at 17 years. We started writing it.
And how has obviously the world has changed dramatically? That's my
dramatically.
We can make up words on this podcast.
Dramatically.
The world has changed dramatically and drastically over the last even 5 years. Has that affected any? Once you have a song that you thought this is staying, and then we have to completely change.
Yes
this.
and no. The funny part about that is that about 5 or 6 years ago, we felt that we were concerned that the show was losing its relevance because when Obama was president, things were great.
Remember that?
Oh boy, do I! But things were great, and there was this movement forward and this shutting down of these places, and we thought, oh no, great. Yeah. But for our piece, we were like, well, are we relevant? And unfortunately, one of the only things that came out of this recent change of administration for us and the world in general, intolerance, is that it has become relevant again.
Hasn't he just made gay marriage illegal again somewhere else? In a state where it was recently
I don't
legal.
know.
I lose track of this.
I lose track of these things. But it's relevant again. And you look at something like Boy Erased and things like that, movies like that, and you see that people are writing about it still.
But it is amazing bringing out a musical like this here because, conversion therapy is a thing that I don't think a lot of people here would really know about.
You don't have this here?
I mean, I think we do, but not to the scale that America has it. I mean, you're a much bigger continent. Like, of course, you'd have more of it than we would. But I think it's a thing that it's not as known about here. And so when you kind of hear people, you watch people in the audience when you guys are explaining it at the beginning, what conversion therapy is, and you see people go, and sort of laugh at what a ridiculous idea it is. And then they watch the musical, or what we give them of the musical, and they're like, oh, this is actually a thing. This is actually a thing that happens. And that's kind of like the dark side of But I'm a Cheerleader. You kind of laugh at the fact that you've got all these kooky characters and all these wacky situations, and you've got Mike and Mary who run the camp, and they're very sort of like out there, and they're very camp. Yeah, they're very camp.
In the camp.
And then you've got, you actually kind of realise that it's not fake, it's real. Like, this actually happens.
And it's funny you say that, because the thing that we always talk about with the show is the tone, and riding that line between humor and serious, because the serious needs to be there. But you'll see it. I mean, you stop and you do, that's what it takes. He stops and does wrestling. You go, oh, this isn't funny.
Yeah.
And then you laugh again. And
that's what I loved about Heathers, though. It had that... It was one of the darkest shows I've ever seen in my life, and then Act 2 starts, and you have that wonderful song, My Gay Son.
My Dead Gay Son, yeah.
And it just completely... It
turns it on its head, yeah.
And you have to find that fine line in darker shows.
Yeah.
What's his venue been like to work with? Because there's a poster in the foyer I was looking at that Lloyd Webber has donated, saying he wants the Other Palace to be a home of new writing. It's not as big as here as it is in New York, so I'm glad that we have now a home for
oh my god, it's amazing that this is here. I mean, this could be our home for a while, you know what I mean? Potentially, who knows? But I love it. I love that this is here. I love that there are these new shows. I'd never gotten to see Nerds when I was in New York, and it never happened, and it's very funny. There's a lot of great writing here, and we are just amongst those other great writers doing this.
It's just such an amazing place for musicals to have a potential life that they might never have had before, and it means that us actors get a chance to explore new characters and new musicals that might not be lucky enough to go on somewhere else, but it means that we had a little bit of time with them, or it means that we get to be part of musicals that then do go on and have a bigger life, and we get to say, oh, I was part of that back in 2000 and whenever.
Hopefully it won't be that long. Hopefully it will be 2025, and you're remember 2019?
Oh. They do take a long time, these shows, though, don't they?
So it depends. I mean, it really depends. Do you have to get producers? Do you have to get a venue? You have to.
I mean, Come From Away, which I saw had 47 producers
Oh my god.
above the title. And I think, is this the world we're in now, that we need...
47.
That is a lot. That's
Well,
kind of
that for a
extraordinary.
West End show, I imagine it's bigger than would be.
No,
for...
it's much bigger for Broadway shows.
Well, no, I meant for like off West End, off
Okay,
Broadway,
yeah.
off here. It probably isn't 47 producers.
Yeah.
That would go.
And what would you... I mean, obviously you want to see the future of the show happen. You would stay with it?
I mean, if they'd have me, I'd love it. I've been having such a good time with it. And it's such a different part that I've played before. And
I don't think that's even a question to be asked.
I texted Paul Taylor Mills last night and I was like, we have to make it happen. It needs to be a thing. I love it so much. And you know, like, because I got the message through from my agent and I hadn't heard of it before, I was like, yeah, sure, I'd love to be part of something new. And then you get that feeling when you fall in love with something and you're like, oh no, I don't actually want to say goodbye to this, and that's going to be really sad if that is something that I have to say goodbye to, and I really don't want to. So I'll do anything to make it happen, please.
We're very much on your page.
Okay, good.
I mean, not that anyone can see this show, because it's completely sold out, and at the time...
I've lost friends because of this show. I'm just saying.
I'm having to sneak my mum in at the back on the balcony, bless her. She was like, I really want to see it.
But that's amazing. You know, you can't be sad about that.
No, I shouldn't. I was going to say Nick doesn't have a ticket, but I'm kind of thinking maybe we should, like, just
Yeah.
cheeky.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Of course, now that's... Can you not put that on there, because we might get in trouble.
I'll just sit on the stage.
It's on the stage, it's fine, just
I'll learn a
one of the,
harmony or
one of the
something.
kids.
But congratulations, Andy. It's so nice to, you know, because you did the MA course that I did as well, and now that everything is... It's such a slog, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And you're doing such a great job. And Carrie, thank you so much for being on Musical Talk.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for
Love
having me.
Love to have you on again properly to discuss everything else that's
Oh,
going
absolutely.
on.
I'd love to.
Looking forward to Les Mis.
Yes, crazy.
And another
Crazy.
production of Les Mis, because that's
I know.
what we need.
One of many.
And thank you so much, and good luck with the show.
Thank you.
And thank Bronte for leaving these raspberry cream sandwich fingers, which are absolutely the most
did
amazing
good.
biscuit I've
Andy's
ever
obsessed
had.
with Marks and Sparks, aren't you?
I am. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
I've got Percy Pigs in my bag for all my friends.
Oh, they're the best.
You have Publix, though, which is a bit like our Marks and Spencer's, I think. It's set as
I wouldn't say that. But we don't have Publix where I am.
Whole Foods.
No. Not the same.
Anyway,
There are no Percy Pigs in Whole Foods. No.
No.
just organic vegan Percy Pigs.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Carrie.
Thank you so
and Andy.
much.
And,
Yes,
Thank you.
our pleasure.
the show.
Thank you.
On the Road with David Herzog. Hello again, Musical Talkers. Thanks for having me back on the program again, as always. We've had another fantastic UK national tour come through our local venue here, Venue Cymru here in North Wales, which is quickly becoming a hot spot for travelling theatre and entertainment. And yours truly has been getting exclusive interviews and chats with some of the biggest shows and biggest stars that have been coming through the space there. So I'm very much hoping that this will become a regular segment on Musical Talk with any luck. Today's entry is going to be a lovely short chat that I had with actor and friend Demitri Lampra, who is currently touring the UK with Kinky Boots. And it was a fantastic production. I cannot sing its praises enough. And Demitri and my wife April and I sat down for a coffee catch-up. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Kinky Boots, or who have not yet had the pleasure of seeing it, it is a fantastic story based on actual events about a character named Charlie Price who inherits the family business, which is a struggling shoe manufacturing plant. And he discovers, much to his own amazement and through the help of a drag queen friend named Lola, that he might be able to regain success with the family business by scrapping production on their male shoe line and instead producing female boots worn by men with a lovely hint of sexual fetishness, hence the name of the show, Kinky Boots. The website for the tour goes on to say that this dazzling, fabulously sassy, and uplifting musical celebrates a joyous story of Brit grit to high-heeled hit, as it takes you from the factory floor of Northampton to the glamorous catwalks of Milan. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having a nice, lovely relax here in Catlin's Cafe, which is one of the lovely little cultural hotspots here in Llandudno, in Venue Cymru itself. We're chatting to our old friend, Demitri Lampra.
Hey.
How you doing, fella?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
I'm so excited to have you on the program.
Yeah.
We go way back, although ironically, none of us have...
Worked together.
We've actually worked
No.
together. but we go ways back. Demitri is currently playing the role of Dawn in Kinky Boots, which has come through Venue Cymru at the moment. And we saw it last night, and it was phenomenal.
Cheers, buddy.
Congratulations
Cheers,
on a
man.
fantastic
Thank you very much.
production. We absolutely loved it.
audience were great. We were all feeding off the audience, so you know, it was wonderful last night. It was great opening night.
It was a very good opening night. They were absolutely on their feet immediately. I don't know if you noticed, you got an immediate standing ovation for the bows.
You kind of well, you know, when I don't want to spoil too much, but you know, when I come out and do the bit at the beginning, shall we say, which I love, you know, I kind of get a bit of a feeling of how the audience is going to be and stuff from that word get-go. And because they were right on the side and in with it and getting all the jokes and stuff, and it was just great. So from the word get-go, I knew that it was going to be cracking. And then I think everyone else realised, like, you know, after the first couple of numbers, how they were responding. You know, it was awesome. And of course, when the audience are with us and behind us and everything, you know, it gives us more not motivation, but excitement as well. You know, because we're getting everything what we're doing and they're right behind us. So
it is a circle of energy. It's reciprocal.
Of course.
You feed off of each other. Builds
we give it, and if you give it back even bigger, then we're going to give it bigger back. You know, so it's great.
And I feel really bad. We were doing a pre-show chat, April and I, and I remembered literally as we were talking, I thought, oh, the character of Don comes out and is going to do the curtain speech in a bit. Oh, that's Demitri. We're going to see. He's going to come out here in just a sec. He's going to. And then April said, "Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, you spoiled it. There was a spoiler."
It's a nice.
I felt bad.
Yeah, it's a nice little thing, you know, because, of course, you know, normally you get the ladies and gentlemen, please turn off all mobile phones and all that kind of stuff, and it's just a little bit of a nod to that. But I think it's great that, you know, it's Don especially that comes out and does it, you know. So yeah, it's good fun.
It takes place in an industrial sort of town, isn't it?
Yeah, Northampton.
It is Northampton.
Yeah.
And so I think that having that character come out is kind of a reminder to all the local people who aren't big city people.
Yeah, of course.
It's okay. This is a regular guy. This is a show about regular people.
True
familiar
story
people,
as well.
People you can relate to.
Yeah.
So I think it is kind of cool that his character comes out and sort of puts, especially like the guys that he's a little bit like.
Totally.
This is going to be a cool show for everybody. It's going to be open to everybody. It's not just about.
Yeah, totally. And also because, you know, it kind of sets up the mood of the show as well, as in, like, I could have come out and said, please turn off my mobile phones, don't take pictures, you know, be really serious about it. But he kind of has a little bit of a play with the audience with it, you know.
Oh, yeah, he's got his tongue
in
his cheek.
So of course. So so I think that sets up what sort of show it's going to be, you know. So it's great.
Can I interject? Am I allowed?
Yeah, of course.
I love the fact that in that speech, Don says, when he's on the phone, he says, I'll call you back in the break. Because it's what we always used to hear when we were working for the house, wasn't it?
Half time.
When's the break?
The football match.
When's the break or when's half time? You hear it a lot, and actually, you know, you don't know who's in the audience and whether they're a theatre going audience or not. So I really liked that, you know, there was this Don fella who probably wasn't the theatre going type who was like, I'll call you back in the break. In the break. Yeah, and he really spells out, doesn't he? Yeah, it's great.
That's great. So we'll get more into the show itself here in just a little bit. What I do want to talk about, especially because, again, the three of us all know each other because we have roots with the company Image Musical Theatre.
Great.
And our good friends
well,
Ian McCracken and Brian
Big shout out. Shout out for both
give them a draw.
both.
They're always touring around the country with great shows. I just got finished with them a year ago this time. I was working with them. And
Robin
2
Hood.
years ago this time. Yes, I was doing Robin Hood. And then 2 years ago exactly this time, you were doing Selfish Giant. Is that right?
Yeah, when was that? 2 years
Time
ago,
flies, man.
I know, right? Jeez. Yeah, 2 years ago.
But of course, they're a cracking company, aren't they? And
they're amazing. You know, we've worked for them on and off for 10 years. Like, you know, my first job out of college, didn't know what to expect. I went on and did Jungle Book.
Right.
Played Baloo. Had the best time ever. Because, you know, hard, because you do 2 shows a day, you know, you lift all the set in, you drive to another destination, and, you know, it's hard work. You know, a lot of people, like, frown upon TIE, shall we say?
Yeah.
But I loved it. I learned a lot of my craft with TIE, learning about different spaces, about different projection with your voices, having the audience so close to you. You have got to change the way you act and how personal it can be with them and because they're in your space. I learned so much from them. Yeah, so after Jungle Book, I did Wind in the Willows, loved it. Then I did Selfish Giant, loved it. Then I had a bit of a break, and then I went back and did Selfish Giant 2 years ago. Did it for the whole year.
Now, not only do you know us originally from having worked with Image Musical Theatre, but you also know Sir Nicholas Hudson, who started this whole podcast over 10 years ago. Just to make it feel old, I'll just say that this is over 10 years old.
Old.
And so it just shows how small this business can be.
Yeah,
Sometimes
totally.
we all know each other.
I met Nick I used to work at Alton Towers.
Yeah.
Worked there for 4 years. I followed one of my good mates, Pete Cliff. Worked on as a live actor in all these different like scare mazes and things. Like we did start off with Subterra, and there was links like with Nemesis and stuff, and you had live actors inside who have all been affected and all that.
Yeah.
So I worked there for a while, and then they opened a ride called Subspecies, and Nick did all the sound effects for it.
Oh yeah.
So of course I met Nick then, and then we went to ScareCon, and that's when I really got to know Nick and his background. But it was really strange. I just thought he was into music, as in just doing like for rides, for the theme parks and stuff. Not knowing he's got all this history of musical theatre and how massive he is as well. And I was just, then of course we had more things to talk about. So that's when I met Nick years and years ago, and we've just stayed friends ever since, And I do believe he's still doing like loads of good things, like with Alton Towers and
still is,
and Thorpe. He did a Ghostbuster ride as well, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, for one of the Six Flags in Mexico City or something like that.
I would love to have been on that.
It was like a laser tag type thing, but it was all Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
that just sounds like heaven.
Great. So
yeah, he's worked for so many places. Chessington World of Adventures, he and I worked on together. We did a voiceover together for that. And
incredible.
He gets all over the place with it, which is great. Which is great for him.
Yeah, I'd love to
one
do
of his passions.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He is a great guy. So that's how I know Nick. Hi, Nick.
And then how did you get involved with Kinky Boots then, from having just done Selfish Giant? When did the audition process start for that?
So the audition, so a little bit of a background. A family member got really sick, so I decided to have a bit of a break and move back to Coventry and be with them. And then basically what happened is a friend of mine said he could give my CV to Dom Shaw, and Dom Shaw is the associate director of Kinky. I met Dom at my best mate's wedding, along with a lot of the cast as well, and sent my stuff over. He sent it to Jill Green, and then Jill Green got me in for an audition with Dom as well, and Jim Henson, who is the MD in the West End, which is it. Did the audition, did the two scenes and a bit of the song at the end. I was so nervous because it's like the biggest thing I've ever auditioned for, and especially because, like I said, I thought I was gonna have time off from the industry for a bit. Went down and did the audition, like I said. Literally opened the door and I got a phone call saying they want to see me again tomorrow for the dance call.
Wow.
Of course, I rang my mum and I said, "Oh my God, I've been accepted to go to the dance call tomorrow." So I literally went back to Coventry, got a pair of boxers. I don't know why, I should have just bought them in London. Got a pair of boxers, travelled back down the same day and stayed in the hotel. I was just like, I wasn't thinking straight, I was just a bit like, what have we just done that for? I really did nothing straight. But then I was panicking about the dance call because I was like, oh my word, what's going to do? Anyway, I got to the dance call and it was brilliant because the associate choreographer, Darren Carnell, is a Coventry boy, known him for years. Known of each other for years, but again, we've never done anything like this guy. We've never done anything together. But when he left for stage school many years ago, I joined his old dance school and stuff like that, and I was in a lot of amateur societies with all of our friends and stuff like that. So went to do the dance call with him, and it was amazing. We did the finale dance and loved it. And then I think it was about a week and a half later, I just thought I didn't get it because, they had to film it and send it over to Jerry Mitchell, who's in America and stuff, and I just thought I didn't get it. But it was a great experience because I loved doing all the audition and stuff, and it kind of made me like, actually I do miss it all. And then like I said, a week and a half later, I got the call and said that I got the part as Don, so on the UK tour, and I was a bit like, oh my word, I remember Kinky Boots coming back out in the West End, and so many people said that there was a perfect part for you in Kinky Boots, playing Don. But I never. And when I came to see the show, when I was doing Selfish Giant with Image, and I remember coming to see the show, and I was just like, I need to be in the show somehow. I need to. It's so good. It's so uplifting. You know, the whole, all of it. You come out on cloud nine. You cannot smile at the end. You know, of the show and things. And yeah, so and that's how the process happened. Then of course we came down to start auditions in August. Auditions, rehearsals for a month, and then we opened in Northampton where it was originally set. We did 3 weeks there, so it was great. It was cracking. So
how long have you been on the road now then?
6 months.
6 months already?
Yeah, 6 months, yeah.
I'll be done.
6 months. It goes all the way to, well, we're contracted all the way to December.
Okay.
So I don't know what's going to happen, but I won't be surprised if he goes back down south and does like some locations down there, because of course, unfortunately, he's finishing in the West End now. So it'll be a year, well, 11 months, but not been in the West End. So it'll give him a chance to do some like south venues like Dartford and stuff like that. So yeah.
That's brilliant. So then how was the rehearsal process for you?
It was amazing. Of course, I met a girl at the dance call who's in the show as well, called Nikki Evans. And of course there was loads of people in the dance call. There was Fred Smiley, who's in the show as well, Andy Watkins as well. But me and Nikki, she's from the Midlands as well, literally 20 minutes from my house actually.
No way.
And we just clicked. It was like she was the female version of me, and we just really clicked and stuff, and we got along really, really well. And then we started talking literally on the way home from the audition, like through like Facebook and stuff. And we just kept talking. And then so of course when it come around to the rehearsals, I was like, at least I know Nikki to begin with, that's okay, like we've been talking, that's fine. But we met, we walked in, I was nervous, I was so nervous, but they made everyone feel so warm and welcome, and everyone's kind of in the same boat, so it was great. We literally sat down the first day. Is me thinking, it'll be quite easy, we'll just get to know each other. An hour in, we were learning the songs, so straight away in. And then I think the hardest bit for me was, of course, not spoiling anything, but of course was the boots, shall we say. Like, I'm a big guy, I've never wore boots really before in my life, and they are like 6 inches, they're proper high, and my calves, I remember putting them on for the first time, and we all put them on for the first time, and my calves were in agony, my thighs were shaking, and that was 2 minutes in. And I found it really, really difficult. The only person who's going to get better and push yourself is you, so I literally wore them every day for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, just to walk around the room, just to get used to them and step up on things and step down from things and stuff like that. And now I feel load more confident on them and stuff like that. And I actually don't mind wearing them now. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying I'm going to wear them all the time.
That's amazing, because you'd never know on stage. I mean, you look very comfortable. It's amazing watching all the dancing in these heels. That, I mean, I'm a girl and I can't wear. I don't think I've ever been able to wear 6-inch heels.
No,
they are difficult. They're difficult on your feet.
It's the the ankles as well, because you it's like being on your tiptoes for all that time, how the angels do what they do in those double pirouettes and these split jump leaps and things like that, and here's me just trying to walk in them and get to the next scene. But it took me a while. But I literally pushed myself, because if I didn't, I kind of thought to myself, well, the only person who's going to look silly if I can't walk in is you. And especially at the end, I need to rock out with them. So and I believe I do now. Do you know what I mean? So
Has anyone ever fallen over on stage? Gone over their ankle in the boots? Oh my gosh,
no
that's
one.
Impressive.
Backstage,
touching wood.
Backstage, yes, but not on front stage, no. So, because you got little things in the way, like I fell over last week where it was a little step, and I was talking, I just didn't look, it was just all black, and I was literally on one level, and then I was like, oh, but it's fine. It wasn't an injury. You just but they're impressive, and the boots are just wow. I mean, you saw the reaction last night when the Diamantes went up and stuff. It's like, because they're amazing. They're amazing. They're incredible, these boots.
That's easily one of the first times, certainly, that I've ever been to a show where, because I don't remember the London audience doing this, but you have famous shows where people applaud the set change, or they applaud the lady coming at the top of the stairs with a lovely gown, like in Maine or Hello Dolly. This was the first show I'd ever seen where a pair of boots just slowly come by on a conveyor belt, and everybody did exactly what you said, which is a ooh, and then that led into an applause when we saw it.
It's fantastic.
It was,
and then again, that just goes to show that the audience were proper gripped with the show and things like last night. So
they really were. You nailed it. And so, going back to the rehearsals a bit, who was looking after the rehearsals for the actual tour? Was there a resident director, or was it Mr. Mitchell coming from the US? Or
no, Jerry came over when we got to Northampton.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good.
And I spent a week with us, but we had Dom Shaw, associate director, and Darren Carnell and Jim Henson, and we got Patrick, who was there with the MD as well. Richard as well. He's in the musical. In the band as well. He's Deaf MD, I think. But loads of them were there. And also we've got the company manager was there as well in the room with us. And then you've got Tom on the corner taking all notes and stuff. So there was loads. It was massive. Loads of them was just plenty there. And it was just great. But of course we had Callum with us as well then. Callum Francis, who opened the tour for us. Callum did it in the West End.
Okay.
He was understudy Matt, and then what happened is he then went on over to Australia and did a year doing Lola, a tour of Australia. Then opened it over here for us and did it all the way up to Edinburgh, and then he is now on Broadway.
Oh, I see.
Doing it on Broadway, doing Lola.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has done his deeds as Lola, and he is incredible. Callum's amazing as well as Lola. They all are. They're all great.
So you've gone through the rehearsal process, and then you started your first week on the road. Now, the three of us, having worked for companies like Image, are used to life on the road, as it were. We get put up in lovely digs when we do things like Image. So how was this in comparison to having done that kind of work before? How was life on the road starting with itself? Well,
the life on the road started in Northampton, so I actually commuted from Northampton to Coventry, because it's not that far away. But what we normally do is we, instead of letting the company manager find our dig, should we say, like Ian used to do in Brian, we have to find our own digs. So, there's great places out there like Theatre Digs or Theatre Digs Booker on Facebook and stuff, and you can either rent people's houses or rooms and stuff like that, so it's fantastic. But closer to the theatre the better, I'd say, especially after a matinee day and stuff like that, and two double show days, it's a lot better. But it's, like you said, we're used to kind of being on the road and doing weeks here or 2 weeks here and things like that. But the accommodation, and of course we're all got different accommodations. We don't all stay together as one company. Do you know what I mean? So it's fine. It's really good.
Brilliant. And so then, talking about the actual performance aspect, then what? First of all, tell us a little bit about, for those people who unfortunately have not seen Kinky Boots yet, tell us about Don himself and how he fits into the story.
So Don is, let's say, a bigot, should we say? He's a bit of a... He's a bit of a...
he's got a lot of prejudice.
He kind of thinks he knows everything. He probably, someone said, he probably knows how to fix Brexit. He probably knows how to, he knows what every woman wants in the world. He thinks he's a ladies' man. He's just one of those characters. He thinks he knows it all. He works in the factory, based in Northampton, and he has been there for years. So when Charlie Price comes along and takes over the factory, I think he's a bit like, that shouldn't be him, that should be me. I should be the guy taking over.
Okay.
What's this guy? He don't know anything about shoes. He's just come in. He's into marketing. He don't know anything about shoes.
Right.
So of course, you know, he kind of thinks to himself that should be me. So I don't think Charlie and Don get along very well to begin with. But then this massive character of Lola comes in and invades his space, you know, and really shows him up in the show. But then challenges him as well, you know, Don challenges him to a boxing fight, doesn't know Lola's background. Don't want to spoil it too much for people not seeing it, but then Don changes his ways. One of the thing, you know, one of the messages that Lola says to him is, you know, accept people for who they are, accept someone for who they are. You know, Don doesn't understand that. He's like, you know, what do you mean by that? What do you mean accepting people? I don't get it. And then I think he just kind of looks back and steps back a bit and changes his way. And actually Don saves the day in the end, because everyone walks out of the factory the way Charlie's been, and Don is the one that gets them all back and, you know, come on, let's rally together, save what we've been doing and save the factory, because we are, you know, we're one big family, and I think he realises that near the end of the show. And he saves the day. Kinky Boot's story, yes, is all about shoes, but if you look deeper, it's all about people's change, and I think Don takes the biggest change throughout the whole show.
He does. He goes on a heck of a journey.
A massive journey. You know, and then of course he comes out at the end with everybody with the boots on in Milan, you know, and that's why like the reaction is massive.
Yeah, big,
you know, because it's like, oh my word, he's here. You know, you just don't expect it, but yeah, it's. Yeah, sorry, spoiler alert. Turn off the podcast. But yeah, it's just unreal, and to get to do that every day, like for the rest of this year, is a blessing. It's an absolute blessing. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I love the journey that Don goes on. I love the reaction. I love him as a character, and it's just great. It's just great. You know, I feel very blessed to be doing it.
And ultimately, what will be your biggest takeaway from this tour once it's all done and dusted? You might not want to look that far into the future already.
How to walk in boots.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
No.
What are you going to miss the most, do you think, once this is all done?
Well, I think I performed in theatres before, of course, but with doing Image and stuff, which was great, going into schools and telling stories, classic stories and things. But I think what I miss is going to all these massive theatres. You know, Edinburgh Playhouse, what an amazing theatre that is. It's massive, huge. Great theatres, great destinations. What I miss the most is probably the people, because they're cracking. The cast are amazing. Like, we all get along very, very well. We try and do something together each week, whether that would be cinema or a curry or even just a coffee, you know. So yeah, I think I miss the people a lot. But if I had my own way and Kinky Boots went out again, or extended for another tour, I'd be the first one to put my name down and do Don again, because I just love the character and I love the journey he goes on, and it brings me like joy and stuff like that, you know. I just love it. So yeah, it's great. So that's what, that's what I miss from the tour. So not the cast and the amazing destinations we go to, you know, in theatres and stuff.
I'm glad you mentioned the cast itself, because that was one of the biggest takeaways that we took from the night. It was that we could definitely tell you guys really gelled as a company, as a team on stage.
We bounce off each other on stage, you know. Literally, like, we just love being in people's, like, you know, and when we're all doing dance moves and stuff like that together in on the same stage, we're really enjoying ourselves with each other.
You can tell.
You know, and we're all smiling together. It's great. We all get along really well. So it's like the factory, I guess. Like, you know, Charlie goes on about how much of a family it is, and I guess we're all like a family as well, being on tour, based on a true story as well. Unfortunately, the factory where they did it in Northampton's closed down, but we went to the Tricker factory when we opened in Northampton. With the whole cast went, and where Trickers is where they actually filmed the film.
Oh.
So, and some of them in the factory were actually in the film as like extras in the background and stuff. And a little story, I didn't know this. A little story there. when it first opened in the West End, the whole cast went up to Trickers and did exactly the same thing we did, and saw how the brogues are actually made and all that kind of stuff, and the whole insight of the factory life, and got to speak to some people, and you realise that they've been there for like 30 years doing the same stitch, on the same shoe and things, and and so when they went up to the West End, when the West End cast went up to Trickers, there was a woman there with a mullet, such a character, larger than life and things, and this massive mullet in the show. And Jerry Mitchell loved it that much. He thought, right, I need to get this mullet in the show. So we've got Maggie Mullet in our show, and every show has now got a Maggie Mullet dedicated to this woman. So when we went up, Dom Shaw, who originally went with Jerry first time, was asking, where's this lady? I forgot her name now. Where's this lady who had the mullet? And unfortunately, she passed away.
Gosh.
But it's like no one knew. So of course, I've never met her, but I just felt like because she was in our show, it was kind of like a nod to her, like kind of thing.
Of course.
And I think people who had met her before were a bit taken back. Callum had met her before because he was in the original cast, and Dom, and I think Jerry himself even.
Wow.
So I think it was just a bit of a shock, really. When none of us are family or anything, but we didn't know. You just think, But it's a nice little nod to her in the show with the mullet and things like that, really. So, but it was great. And then learning all about Trickers and things was unreal. People have been there for 30 years, and you can see Don's character. In some of the guys, doesn't even bother that we're there. What you're doing in our factory, kind of thing. So, and I'm sure that's the same reaction that Don has in the show when the Angels come in. Sorry, spoiler alert. So when the Angels come in and stuff like that, I'm sure it was the same reaction they had when we went into their factory and stuff. So
Right.
But it was great though. Great experience.
Thanks again so much to Demitri for having a fantastic chat with me. It's always great to catch up with Demitri. He's a great guy. And you can catch Demitri and the rest of the cast in Kinky Boots as it comes to a theater near you. At the moment, the tour is booking up well into November of this year. Pop along to their website, which is kinkybootsthemusical.co.uk/UK-tour. And you can get all the information about booking tickets and what major cities the tour itself will be traveling through. Thanks again so much, as always, friends, for having me on the podcast. You can follow me, as always, on Twitter at David Herzog06. I'm now going to pass you back on over to Mr. Nicholas Hudson over in the studio. Back to you, sir.
Lovely to hear from David Herzog and April, and of course my good friend Demitri. Thank you very much. You can go and see Kinky Boots still on tour, so please do that. That's it for this week's episode of Musical Talk. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. For more information about Musical Talk, please visit our website at musicaltalk.co.uk. You can email us at feedback@musicaltalk.co.uk, listen to past episodes on iTunes and YouTube, and follow our social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.